Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, our private Facebook group, be sure to come join us. That group was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting to that that seven-figure level within their business, and they want to be surrounded with the best individuals out there. So if that's you, be sure to come join us in the High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle private community. Now, with that being said, I have today's guest, Eileen Bild. How are you, Eileen?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good here. So Eileen, she's the founder of the Core Thinking Blueprint Method. So the Core Thinking Blueprint Method, that's what she's the founder of. And she's a coach. So Eileen, tell us, what got you into coaching?
Oh gosh, it started way back when, about 20, 25 years ago. I had a really debilitating condition, and that caused me to grow and expand and really step into my authenticity.
Mm-hmm,
It was something that most people don't heal from, and I healed from it. I self-healed. And that allowed me to understand the power of our thinking. And has become the core and the basis of my core thinking blueprint method, because the way we think and the way we apply ourselves to how our thinking is and what's going on in the external world starts from the internal.
mm-hmm.
And that brought me into bringing my skills and my gifts from my self-healing and working with others to the coaching arena.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Awesome. So I love the fact that you went through, and that's why I realize with most coaches, consultants, the most successful ones, the ones who do really, really well, are individuals who've had an issue, struggle with something, and now they've kind of figured it out, and now they want to kind of help support others with that specific thing as well too. So tell us, why the name, the Core Thinking Blueprint? How did that name come about?
It came about as a culmination of my master's in transpersonal psychology and my coaching. And I realized that uh, just like a computer system, we have glitches, we have blocks, we have things that are not allowing the full mental system to work smoothly like a computer. So what I do is I re-engineer. I help entrepreneurs and I help highly driven purpose entrepreneurs to re-engineer their thinking for just amazing success. And it allows people to move forward in a way that they feel empowered, they feel motivated, they feel driven, and not held back by those glitches and those blocks.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so powerful. I haven't heard that metaphor the way you said it right now, but I think it's so powerful, which is kind of like a computer. We have glitches, right? And from my perspective, my philosophy at least, I truly believe that because the realm I'm in is just like the marketing, helping coaches, consultants grow their businesses. And I find that with the success, most individuals, most of what we want, it's like we're like not wired to have the success, although we know we want it. There's, I guess you might refer to them as glitches, right? So it's like these things that keep us from getting the results that we want, progressing the way we want. So how did you stumble upon that? How did you come up with that term, glitches, and how did you kind of figure that out?
Well, if you think, just imagine that you want to be like someone like yourself,
Hmm.
someone like Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs. Their thinking is on a whole nother level than just the ordinary person going through the ordinary movements. And there's a
Hmm.
difference between their thinking patterns and the way that they approach um, achieving the results that they want to achieve.
Right.
So having a empowered mind that's based on a strong foundation that allows you to have the success that you want, like those entrepreneurs I just mentioned, and they're highly successful. Imagine that you're operating at the same level that they're operating.
Hmm.
What would your life be like, right?
Hmm. Right. And so what, how do you know, what's, I guess, from the average person's thinking to, let's say, a Steve Jobs, Brendan Burchard, all these, like, what do you think, where do you see the gap in terms of how an average person thinks versus how the successful individuals think?
It's the going from the limiting beliefs and
Mhm.
perception into limitless beliefs and perception. If you, I bet if you would talk to any of them, and I've studied them for years,
Mhm.
um, they don't look at anything as an impossible. And
Mhm.
Brendan Bush is really good about sharing his story and where he came from to where he is now. Tony Robbins is the same thing. If you look at all of their backgrounds, you will discover that nothing stopped them. And for people who are living the ordinary experience and want to be in that extraordinary experience, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over, right? And expecting
Right.
a different result. And it starts with the thinking, because nothing happens until we have a thought. And then that thought produces an emotional attachment, which then produces the action. So what my program does is I re-engineer, I help the entrepreneur re-engineer their brain and their thinking so that it's in that unlimited possibility realm. So then they feel empowered. So then they have clarity and confidence to make the decisions they need to make to
Mhm.
move themselves forward and
Yeah.
become like the next Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Extus.
Yeah, that is so powerful as well too. Because I know on my journey, because when I think back upon my own life and growing up and all these different things, I definitely had a lot of these limits and beliefs and fears, all these different things. And I kind of now try to think back, okay, what made me to where I became successful? I was able to get the results. I was able to persevere. A lot of it was, for, at least for myself, it's been introduced to those types of individuals, surround myself with these different types of people who thought that way. And I remember even before I started my business, I was definitely going on like binge watches of listening to whether it's Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, all of them,
Mhm.
and having that thing soak into me to where, and I think that that's one of the things that really helped me because I believe in life and business, we're all gonna hit those challenges, right? So where you set out to achieve the goal, you have this big dream, and every single thing it seems like you're doing all the action you're taking is just not getting you there. You feel like you're moving further and further away, but there comes a point in everyone's life, in their business and whatever, they have to be able to persevere, even though it looks like it'll never work. You have to be able to keep going. Now, in essence, how do you help someone? What is your process for helping someone bridge that gap? Because it sounds like when you do it, at least from most people who have not, they haven't done any type of really hardcore personal development, improvement on themselves, change their thinking and stuff like that. They might think like you might hook them up to like something to like electric shock them and like, is that your process? How do you help someone with the beliefs and stuff?
I help them. So the process is using this blueprint wheel that I
Mhm.
created as part of the method, and it's again it's reprogramming and rethinking things and discovering at that deep core, because we all have a blueprint that we work from. The
Mhm.
challenge is a lot of times that blueprint is layered with other people's influence that's influencing us currently, and we don't know that. So with this method, step-by-step process, we as we're uncovering what's in that core that's blocking and stopping us and causing those repeated head, hitting the head on the wall, and why can't I get that next step? This blueprint uncovers that, and the method allows that next step to automatically, flow into place. So then, as you uncover and let go, now you are reinforcing that new programming, and the confidence is building, the clarity is building. So now you have a different outlook, right?
Mhm.
So instead of being worried, there's a statistic out there, 42% of entrepreneurs spend their days in worry or stress. So if you're operating from this unlimited belief foundation, then that stress and worry is going to be minimal. And now imagine, imagine what your day could be like if it's not filled with stress and strain and worry. Instead, it's filled up, okay, what's possible today?
Mhm.
What can I do today? What can I bring out in myself to allow me to take that next step? What's that next step? And what I have found working with awesome entrepreneurs is that as they go through this process, they want that next step. because all that is being let go no longer is with them. So now they're free to step fully into their authenticity and really align now with their purpose and align with that new thinking and start to see themselves at that level that uh, the Tony Robbins and the Richard Branson and all the people that have made it to that extraordinary level. And when you can see yourself there, then you're more motivated to do what you need to and what's necessary to get yourself there.
Hmm. Yeah, powerful. I love what you said about the blueprints. Like we all have some mental blueprints in our minds of we show up in the world, right? And we're here today, and we might think that the world is there and things are just there, versus not realizing that, well, there's something in us first. The world is first created in here, and then we project it out there. And that's so fascinating. As you said, when you work with your clients, you don't go out and try to change the world, but you more go into changing what's already going on internally, what's that map. And then from changing the map, that's where results, everything else changes, right?
Exactly, because whatever's going on in the outer world begins in the inner world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if your inner world is a struggle or has those glitches, and think of your computer, how many times you want to throw your computer out the window, right? Because
Yeah.
it's got things and bugs and glitches. So, the mind does the same thing, but with this method I've created, you can easily and quickly get rid of those glitches, get rid of those bugs. And instead of wanting to just, throw your hands up and give up or just stay stuck,
Mm-hmm.
instead, all of a sudden you see possibilities, you feel the possibilities, you align your thinking with the maybe the people you've been studying and you wish you were there. Now you can align with them because you know what it feels like
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have all that stuff dragging you down and holding you back.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I know in my own journey as well, when I was first really getting started with my business, and when it got to the worst of the worst, I think I started off with like about $130,000 and really getting into trying to grow my business. And I remember specifically again to like having like $1,500 in my bank account. But I kind of thought back on like, how did I get here, right? So how did I go from there to there? Like, and I'm like, I'm a hard worker. What's happening? Like, what's the issue? But then I realized that it was a mindset, because a lot of what happened, the situation I kind of ended up in, it was like prophecy in a sense. Because when I think back about the way I used to think before, especially when I was just getting started, like the game was just rigged for me to fail. Because all of the ways I thought, I always like when I think about, okay, did I think positive, negative? Did I think things would work out, or did I think things wouldn't? And was always based on I was always skeptical. And I remember being in my apartment with a $1,500 and sitting in my one bedroom apartment. And it was almost like I had already visualized seeing myself there. And I realized that, holy goodness, it happened. And that's when I realized, when I saw that, I quickly realized that there had to be a different approach, because this type of realm, especially as an entrepreneur, when you're trying to make
Mhm.
things happen, trying to change your situation, trying to do something you haven't done, if you can't come from a place, I found at least for myself, if you can't really come from that place of you could see it already, and have no way to overcome, because that was my biggest thing here, is to figure out, okay, what's the process I could use to help me overcome this issue of the glitches. Like, what's the process? And I had to kind of, it took me like years to figure mine out, but it definitely seems like for yourself, you've put together something, you figured out that process to where someone could take it and it wouldn't take them years to figure it out. You'd basically help them get up and running pretty fast, would you say?
Absolutely. It's
Mhm.
it's a 3-month process instead of years and years and years of trying to figure things out. It's very uh, empowering. Again, I have to use that word empowering because so many entrepreneurs, they work so hard to achieve their dream and to achieve where they want to get. And
Mhm.
when you hit those stumbling blocks and those walls, it's you get to a point where do you give up or do you keep pushing forward? But
Mhm.
then you can burn out and there's all kinds of challenges that come up. This method eliminates all of that and it dives right to the core and moves people forward and creates extraordinary results.
Mhm. Awesome. So tell me, a question I also like to ask as well too is in terms of your life, right? So being where you are today, with your business you've started, your success you've created for yourself, and all those different things. What is there any stories that you could share with us that kind of that you believe that that's one of the core things, that story here is a core thing that got me to where I am today? Do you have any of those stories?
For my clients that I've worked with,
No, no,
stories about them.
no, just for you, in your own personal, a personal story from you. Do you have one of those?
Well, it goes back to, I think, are you talking about like from my healing or with working with the clients and how I've grown as well by working with the clients?
Which
Which
one?
would you like to hear?
Let's do the healing one, the first one.
Okay, so it was a fibromyalgia, and it wiped me clean. I mean, I had really severe symptoms from that, and I had attached to the label. So anytime we have something that holds us back, and it doesn't have to be a condition, um, if we attach to it, then we're owning that. So I started to think after 7 years, I don't need to own this. I want to own who I am. And in a matter of 3 months, I eliminated all my symptoms, and I realized the key was my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped identifying with the fibromyalgia, and I started to really affirm that I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm healthy. And I used that concept for the method of, if you're an entrepreneur, what are you taking ownership of?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you are identifying yourself with? So you talked about you identifying with those beliefs that were limiting, and they weren't healthy for you, and they weren't helping you move forward. And it wasn't until you made that shift did you realize that that was the key for you to get out of that stuck stage or wherever you're at. So the same thing for me. I had to shift my thinking, and I had to re-engineer my neural pathways and my brain processes to align with where I wanted to go, because they weren't in alignment. If your thinking and your goals are not in alignment, they're not going to move forward together. There's gonna be an imbalance. It's like walking a tightrope, right? If you're walking, imagine walking a tightrope and you don't have that bar. Yeah, the ability to stay stable on that is going to be really challenging. But
Right.
if you use the tools, so my method and my program, I bring in tools. So I use tools in my healing, and I translated that process into the process of the core thinking blueprint method to take the tools that I teach in order to reframe and re-engineer the thinking and the brain so that you can be successful. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason you can't. Absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Look at the Tony Robbins, and even the hundreds that have come after them that are successful. We have more successful entrepreneurs today than ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what about skills wise, right? Because I believe that as we all evolve in life, one of the things that really separates a lot of individuals from others is they've kind of mastered some skills, something that they've really mastered way better than anyone else. So in your life, have you mastered what one skill would you say you've mastered that's really changed the core trajectory of your life?
Uh, I would say the ability to truly step back and listen, to really hold space, to hear what someone is saying, and to know where in that person that they're asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the power of the pause, and to allow that person to uh, step into that space of where I'm holding it, to give themselves permission to become vulnerable and to be able to uh, allow themselves to become the person that they're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Powerful stuff. Love those words. And the next question becomes, what about habits wise? What's one habit you believe is one you've mastered? And so if someone mastered, they would definitely be, they could have a lot more success than they currently are. Do you have any one habit you could share?
Absolutely. I would say that the strongest habit that I have has come from my ability to take the idea of meditation and allow myself to be grounded and centered as a core way of being.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's chaos and you know um, just crazy things going on around me, I have the ability to be in the middle of that and not have any impact on me in a negative way. And so it's a really powerful skill to have
Mm-hmm.
because um, uh, whenever there's struggle in someone's life or there's struggle out there, people want to pull you into it, right? If someone's unhappy, they want you to be unhappy with them. If someone's struggling, they want you to empathize and sympathize with them. And so my skill of just being in that state of centeredness allows me to separate out from that and again be able to hear.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, Eileen. Thank you so much for sharing. Now we're running low on time here, but before we end for the day, what's if someone wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
They can reach out to me on my website,
Mm-hmm.
www.corethinkingblueprint.com. And if anybody wants a discovery call, they can get to my contact page and fill out the information, and I'd be happy to talk to them.
Awesome, perfect, guys. So if you're listening to this on the live or on the replay, the links Eileen just shared with us, they'll be right below this video, so you can click on it and connect right to her. Okay, awesome, Eileen. Well, hey, thank you so much for making the time to stop by the show today. Do you have any final words before we end?
Final words, just be the best you can be and never give up on your dreams and your aspirations.
Mm-hmm. Love it, love it.
Okay.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. And
You're
we'll be in touch,
welcome.
okay?
Okay, and thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.